fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause. Take a seat, thank you.
The early 2000s was a weird time to be an X-Men fan. Bryan Singer's movies would have just been fresh off the presses. Grant Morrison would have started writing the X-Men. Oh, and yeah, we had the start of a kick-ass X-Men cartoon. I just want to put this out there. The music slaps. Sure, the actual music used in the show is kind of dated, but the theme song is just as good as the 90s. Well, the 90s is better, but it's still pretty good. Following in the footsteps of its successful predecessor, X-Men Evolution took the cast back to its roots, repositioning key characters like Cyclops and Jean Grey back into the teenage years, while having characters like Storm and Wolverine acting as mentors. The main premise of the show is basically a coming-of-age story, having to deal with the plights of being a superpowered mutant. Season 1 deals with the formation of the X-Men, while the Brotherhood of Mutants slowly assembles their ranks. Fun fact to all my God of War fans, since Christopher Judge is the voice of Magneto, he's also the current voice of Kratos. Now all I can hear is Magneto saying boy.
Who are you?
Someone like you.
What do you mean?
Someone who used to be confused about what he'd become. The boat boy. 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 I told you, boy. Boy. Boy.
The main cast of the show is really well put together, and you really see how each dynamic plays off each other.
Logan, have you ever, really cared for someone?
Pliers.
I mean, you felt it so strong that you couldn't even get the words out.
Yeah, once. Most beautiful bike I ever saw. I was so speechless, someone else bought her. Not wire strippers, pliers. Use your eyes, kid.
The problem is, how's the guy supposed to know if the girl feels the same way?
Look, here's how I see it. I'd like to finish this job before New Year's. So if you don't tell her, I will.
It's nuts to realize that the fate of the world rests in the hands of high schoolers, and that the conflict between the Brotherhood of Mutants is basically a high school beef, or just it can be handled in a locker room brawl, which is just super strange. Speaking of characters, we have great development with one of the leads, Anne-Marie, aka Rogue. For a large part of the early season, she's kind of an outside freak, dealing with many similarities to her past and movie counterparts. But it's done surprisingly well. She wants to belong, she wants to fit in, but because of her powers, it makes her standoffish and a target to the Brotherhood of Mutants, and more specifically, Mystique. Next, we have Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler. He's the puckish rogue and lover boy of the team. If our fuzzy blue goofball isn't trying to pull pranks, he's definitely chasing tail while trying to hide his own. What differs from his more traditional counterpart is the use of a cloaking device that allows him to blend normally in society. Kind of like how Cyclops has his glasses. Also, he's not overly religious. Kitty Pryde is basically Kurt's foil. She's a kind of preppy, girly girl.
Yeah, well, what's the point, And I'll, totally go crazy sitting around here. What? I just fell out. You're just like some freak. I was having trouble with my locker. Cause, I had nothing to do with what happened out there in the sandpit.
off is very annoyed by his shenanigans, but as the show progresses, the two find themselves in a very solid friendship. This show is also very monumental as it is the first ever appearance of X-23, aka Laura Kinney, into the Marvel canon. That's right, Wolverine's clone daughter first showed up in this cartoon, just like DC's Harley Quinn. Speaking of Wolverine, the show does a good job at balancing Logan's appearance, making him a mentor to the younger students as mentioned earlier, but it doesn't make this Wolverine and the X-Men, which is another show that slapped. He's just your grumpy uncle with a heart of gold.
And Squirt, put on your best face. And keep an eye on the half pint here.
Hey!
There's a specific homage to one of my guilty pleasure movies, which was basically the Bayville Sirens episode. It's a love letter to the movie The Craft. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The world is very expansive, with references to characters such as Nick Fury and Captain America, which makes the world feel very lived in. Sure, you don't get a lot of Avengers, but at least we got something. This show manages to tackle the traditional themes of prejudice towards ostracized minorities. Where it may fall apart for certain audiences is that it focuses less heavily on those elements than previous installments. It's more of a good versus evil, shark versus jets kind of story, and less of a civil rights allegory for people who like that. Overall, besides the apocalypse storyline, the show's pretty good. Sure, I might still have biases towards the other two X-Men adaptations, such as the 90s and Wolverine and the X-Men, but X-Men Evolution did a pretty solid job. It's a time capsule, which really showcases the era in which it came out. It's a good show. I love the character models, and overall, it's a good dynamic. We see cameos from several mutants from X-Men lore. Not everybody can make it on the team, but at least it's cool to see the New Mutants and the original team. Pretty good, solid mix. If you agree or disagree with anything I had to say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down in the comment section. Hit that notification bell so you know the next time we upload. And thanks for watching.